Welcome back to Diablo Immortal. Today I'm here with Snake the Vile, an expert on familiars or pets inside of Diablo Immortal. And together we're going to be giving you a complete guide on everything related to familiars. I understand that familiars are probably one of the more complex elements of the game that a lot of people, years after they've been implemented, still are curious and unsure of how the systems work, especially since the system has changed so much as time goes on. It's just a continuously evolving system. And for the most part, I think it's for the good. So Snake is going to be here taking us through it. Snake, first of all, thanks for coming to the channel, man. I know that you have some very enhanced levels of pets in the game, so you're a great person to take us through and give us some guidance.
Yeah, guys. Nice to be here.
I appreciate it. So I guess let's start from some of the basics and then build ourselves into some of the more complex elements of how the familiar systems work. So start us right off at the beginning, and I'll be sure to jump in and ask any questions that I think either I have or that the people watching the video may have.
Yeah. So Pet's been around for about 3 years now. And they're essentially a more expensive skill charm. Um, and what people need to know is it's going to be more cost effective to buy the pet base that you're looking for rather than trying to just convert it endlessly. You're going to end up spending way more plat doing that. So we're going to start with attributes, and then we'll bridge off of that. So attributes, there's 4 different attributes in the game. There's ferocity, agility, insight, and resilience. Most people probably don't even look at that. Um, but every pet, there's at least 2 different pets that have one of those 4 as its main attribute, and then they'll have like a secondary version. And what most people are going to care about is the main one. So orange attributes, like if I go to details, like this cat, you'll see it's the color orange and it's 199. That means it's a legendary attribute. Um, and then how those attributes make the way your pets look, like this cat has 2 heads. It's going to depend on whether the attribute and your skills below match the corresponding color. So, like if you had, let's say, a pet that had that orange attribute, and then the skills below show like all yellow and blues, then it's going to be a rare familiar. And there's 3 different familiars. There's magic, which is like your basic looking familiar. There's rare, which is in the middle, and then there's the legendary cool looking familiar.
Mhm.
So to get the legendary cool one, you're going to need to match at least one orange attribute with one orange skill, or enhanced rare, which they recently added this year, which looks like this. They're yellow with like a little touch of orange. They're like a better rare, essentially.
Okay, newly added.
Yeah, newly added. So we're gonna start with PVE basic pets. So for like your everyday farmer, dungeoner, PVE player,
Hmm.
the most important thing you're gonna want is a salvager pet. That way you can scrap on the go. Everybody should have one of these. It's a little purple icon that says salvager. You can usually pick them up pretty cheap in the auction house. You can try to roll for them. I will tell you it's a 10% chance to roll, and there's one of 3 that you could roll. There's Salvager, Appraiser, which is for identification, and then Pack Mule, which gives you the remote armory. So for basics, as long as you have a Salvager pet, you're good to go for your farming needs.
Yeah.
If you want to be like a more advanced PVE pet for your farming or dungeon going, most people are going to tell you it's Skitter or Brutalin. And that's because they have AoE skills, which is great for farming. So like I have, for example, this Druid Talon here. It's amalgamated, which I'll go over what amalgams are in a little bit. But it has Purification Flame, which gives an AoE burn. And then I also have Tenacity, which reduces its active skill cooldown, so it happens more often. And you know what? I just thought about it. Let me just show you kind of what that looks like. It's going to be very similar for the Skitter because it's an AoE as well. But like if you go in here and you hit the dummy, so we attack the dummy, and you'll see I'll get this aura around me, and it burns the enemy.
Mm.
So it's very, 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 very good for PvE content. Um, Now, skills you would be looking for an advanced pet for Brood Talon or Skitter are going to be Lingering Wounds. Lingering Wounds increases the damage you do to enemies with status effects, and then Tenacity for the lower cooldown, so you can do it more often.
Okay. Well, so what you're saying here is, and a lot of people don't think this, that obviously we have our primary pet, and then we have a bunch that are bonded to us as well. You're basically
Mhm.
saying that depending on how you play or what you're currently playing in the game, players are going to want to have different familiars for those activities. For example, if someone's a PvP player, but they also play PvE as well, they're not going to really want to have that same familiar in primary use, the same companion for both of those types of activities because I mean, they can, but they're not going to get the most out of those pets if they do.
Yeah, correct.
Got it.
Yep.
Okay, so you just shared a bit about what you want to see in a PvE one. What do you want to share next?
Yeah, so for PvP, there's two pets you can go with. It's either going to be a Savior Cat, or not a cat, Savior Cat. It's going to be a cat or an Ash Sweeper. And the reason is
Mm-hmm.
because of the skill Savior, which almost everybody uses in BGs. It protects you from dying for 3 seconds, gives you that immunity. And the reason those two are the most important is when we talked earlier about attributes, Savior, the cooldown of Savior is based on resilience. And the only two pets that have resilience as its main attribute would be the cat or the ash sweeper. So as you can see here, I have a 199 resilience, which shows I'm shaving off 14 and a half seconds. So that 75-second cooldown ends up being 60 and a half seconds,
Mm-hmm.
which is a big deal when you're in battlegrounds.
Nice. That's awesome. Okay. So a lot of people don't know, or at least didn't know, that every pet can't have savior. So if you're someone that's focused on PvP, you're looking at the sweeper or you're looking at the cat. There's really no other options right now.
Correct. Yeah, and that's just because the cooldown gets lowered on the savior with those two specifically. You can get savior on any pet. It's just you're going to get that 75-second cooldown
Got it.
versus having 60 seconds per se.
Copy.
Now, other skills beyond just having savior, if you're wanting to, get a super fancy PvP pet, Steelhide is another popular choice. It increases your block chance, and Steelhide's also based off of resilience, so it shares the same attribute. So like this, the base is 34% block chance. It goes up by 12%. So it's like 46% when the Dust Prowler gives you that shield. So that's really helpful. Tenacity is pretty much a staple in PvP or PvE pets. That's what lowers the cooldown on how often you can use things. Um, Other people like things like Soul Shield, which gives you an absorb shield, Innervate, which reduces your actual skill cooldowns or resets them
Mm.
uh, occasionally. So that's a popular choice too on PvP pets.
All right. No, that's awesome. Thanks for the breakdown there.
And I'm going into bonded. So bonded pets, they're a luxury. They're not a must-have. You can fill them out. Um, what most people do, if you actually go and try and make a good bonded set, most people are going to go for the pre-science trait because that gives you player taken damage reduction, and it can stack up to 5 times if you use an ash sweeper as your main pet. And I'll show you how. So as you can see, I'm using a cat, so I only get 6%, and that's because the cat itself doesn't have the prescience trait. So I can only go up to 4 stacks, which is 6%. But if I
Mm-hmm.
swap the Ash Sweeper with it, because the Ash Sweeper has a hand, and then I put in something like a Brood Talon, which can roll that hand, you can get all 5 stacks and get 9%. So that's what 99% of the PvP players will do is try and stack Prescience as their trait. And that's really it. Everything else is just an added bonus. Um, and that goes for PvE. There's really nothing in the bonded traits aside from that salvager we talked about earlier that you should have to let you remote salvage. Nothing else is really going to enhance you in PvE. So bondeds are primarily for PvP if you really want to go for them, and the prescience is the one you want to use. There are some people that may want to go for player damage, which is fine. You could stack that up to 4 times because there's only 4 pets that can roll it,
Hmm.
which will give you 6% more damage to players. And yeah,
Now, are those things that you try and roll as you're getting pets, or are those things that you would actually go into the shop and purchase because you want to have those extra bonuses? What's the most efficient way of doing it, I guess?
yeah. So with everything involving pets, buying what you want is often going to be cheaper than trying to roll the ones you want.
Yeah.
Um, So I would encourage people to just look at the market, see if you can find some cheap ones occasionally and snag those up. Now, with that being said, um, when you're looking to buy one of them, one of the things you need to pay attention to is what attribute the hand is for. So let's just say, like, for example, this bestiary might that is kind of grayed out and not active,
Hmm.
it says it needs the agility for it to be active. And with Brood Talon, the main stat is insight. So you have to pay attention to that when you're looking for the hand. It needs to be the main attribute of the pet that you're getting the hand for, because if it's the other one, that means you're going to need a double attribute pet, meaning both attributes are orange, and those are very expensive and very rare. So it's not often you're going to see something like that.
Okay, no, that makes sense. So another question is, when you're getting your pet contracts, I have 100 or so saved up. I don't even use them anymore. But when you get your pet contracts, if you're not really trying to roll for any pets, what do you do with your contracts when you get them? Do you do any type of conversions or anything to hope to get lucky? Maybe try to find something that you could sell? What should players be doing with their contracts if you say that it's best to really just go buy what you're looking for because you're going to save platinum in the long run?
Yeah, I tend to hoard them as well until I need them for whatever reason. Sometimes I may need conversion stones, so I may just make a bunch of pets and convert them to see if I can get enough conversion stones rather than trying to buy conversion stones from the market. Um, for other people, you can certainly try if you have the contracts; those are free, obviously. So you
Hmm.
can try making pets and converting and see what you get and see if you get lucky. And maybe that'll save you a trip to the auction house. So that is one thing. But most of the time, for most of us players, we just use the contracts to make pets to see if we can get any pets with like a lot of yellow rare skills where we can end pact and get the conversion stones so then we can use them on the conversions we want to do
Hmm.
from the market. Um, so yeah, that's usually what most pet contracts are used for.
When pets came out, it wasn't far in where I got a crazy roll. I just used a contract and it dropped me a double legendary ash sweeper,
Hmm.
which was crazy. So I mean, it can happen. It's
Oh yeah.
it's just very uncommon that it will. Um, so okay, talk to us a little bit about conversions and how that whole system works. I've done it in previous videos, but since then it actually has changed a little bit. So if you want to do some converting of pets or something like that, um, what's the smartest way of doing those types of things, giving yourself maybe the best chances or wasting the least amount of materials, things like that?
Yeah, so if you're doing ordinary conversions, there's no risk to them. I don't know if people know this, but like I'm showing 3 ordinary pets right now.
Hmm.
Um, in the past, you did not want to convert any pets that had like a legendary or orange attribute because you will probably lose it.
Right.
But since then, it actually keeps it. There's no risk. You can actually roll ordinaries that have orange, and it will stay orange. You're not going to lose it. So that's pretty cool.
Hmm.
And it doesn't cost any plat to convert ordinaries. So I have 3 here. If I hit convert, the biggest thing you're looking for is something with either a lot of yellow skills that you can unpack to get conversion stones, or the chance that you get a random aberrant
Hmm.
that you can then use for later converting or just selling.
I know players used to always get a ton of platinum because they were always selling pets, but I mean it's been a while
Mhm,
now. But you could only sell those aberrant pets. They're basically the pets with that purple icon on them. I think it's the
mhm.
is that right? It's the purple icon for
Yes.
aberrant. Yeah.
Yeah, on the
So
top left.
people recently actually I've been noticing in some of the comments are like, why can't I sell any of my pets? And that's the answer right there. the familiar needs to actually be an aberrant, like you're seeing on that brood talon right there. Regular
Yeah,
ones can't be sold.
correct. And with the aberrant conversions, it that does cost plat, as you can see,
Hmm.
2,000 plat when you do any conversion. So keep that in mind. And with aberrants, you do have to use conversion stones if you want to keep anything that you really like as like a baseline. So like things like the amalgamation, how this brood talent is purple looking instead of the
Hmm.
normal gray. If you want to keep that, you're going to have to use stones,
Oh,
which stones inherently, each stone costs 1,000 plat, is how you can look at it. So, like if it says you need 8 stones, just know in the back of your
8,000
mind
plat.
that that's 8,000 plat on top of the 2,000 to hit the actual button to convert it. Um, so that's what you're looking at when you do aberrants. You're going to need stones to keep your baselines of what attributes and things like that. Um, now, with skills, or before we even get into skills, let me just go over amalgamations.
Yes.
So they were just added a few patches ago. Um, you can roll them. Now, the chances of rolling them depend on how many orange skills are on the pet. So if you have no legendary skills and you're just doing an aberrant conversion with 3 vanilla blue or yellow skill pets, you have a 0.5% chance of it turning to an amalgamation, which is very low. If you have a 1 orange skill pet, or at least one of the 3 pets having 1 orange skill, it's a 2% chance that it'll roll amalgamation. If you have two, it goes to 10%. And if you have
Oh,
3 orange, it's 15%. That's like the top end.
and
So if you're trying
amalgamation
to,
amalgamation is only a cosmetic change. Am I correct?
no, it actually changes the active skill.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So,
And it
so
gives you a
this is
cosmetic difference as well. So it's going to be a
yeah,
cosmetic change and an active skill change.
and an active skill. So this shoots like a purple laser beam, where the normal brood talon just does like an AOE burn on the ground. Kind of looks like the starfire burn it leaves
Hmm.
on the after effect. So yeah, each one has a different skill. Like this will shoot ice crystals instead of the normal rocks. This ash sweeper, and they do slightly different things than the original. So it's pretty cool.
So is the amalgamation great because you're changing your skill, or is it really just cool because you get to change the look of your familiar? Like, is the is the is the brood talon no longer doing AOE and instead doing the laser? Something that you want? Because to me, it would sound like, depending on I guess how strong the laser is, that the AOE damage would probably be a little bit more beneficial for players, at least for PVE content. And the Ash Sweeper, is it that much better if it throws ice crystals versus throwing rocks? Is the skill change really matter that much? Is what I'm trying to say.
Sure. It depends on the pet because they all do different things.
Hmm.
And for the most part, it is slightly better for most of them. Now, two pets that come to mind are the Virags and the Brood Talons. So for the Brood Talons, I'm gonna say about a year ago, they added these skills for Virags and for Brood Talons, and I think Stormlost too. These skills that only that pet can roll. So, like for example, this Brood Talon has Purification, where it changes my. It'll actually take off the laser beam that you got from the amalgamation, and it gives you that AOE burn,
Hmm.
that aura. Now, if you look at this line below, it says amalgamated form reduces the cooldown by 15%. So if I had this purification on like a vanilla brew talent, it's going to take longer to reuse that skill. Because it's amalgamated, you get a free 15%. So that's like an incentive to have it amalgamated.
Okay.
Um, and Vrog is the same way. It has a Forest Rage skill. And if it's amalgamated, that Forest Rage goes down by 15%. So there are some benefits depending on which pets you use. But I'd say for the most part, if you can get it, you probably want to get the amalgamation. More often than not, is going to be better than the original. It's
Okay.
just if you can get it reasonably, I would get it.
Okay. That makes a lot of sense. That makes it clear. Do you think amalgamation is going to be something that completely free to play players that are pretty casual playing the game need to worry about, or are all of these more in depth modifications we could do to our familiars, something that's more for more hardcore players.
Yeah, they're more luxury. They're more for hardcore players.
Okay,
Yeah.
fair enough. I know
Yeah,
that
not must-haves.
everyone wants to have the best account that they can get, whether they're a hardcore player
Mhm.
or casual. Like everyone just secretly wants to have the best gear, the best familiars, the best gems that they can. So, but that makes sense, and I'm glad you clarified there as well. All right, so what else can we do with familiars to get them? You said you want to do amalgamation, and there was something else you want to discuss as well.
Yeah, on the amalgamation real quick,
Hmm.
let me one second here. It's unlocked. Let me get one Aberant because I want to show everybody this. Um,
Sure.
it's,
And also for
uh,
clarity, I don't want to blow up your spot or share too much, but you're a pretty end game player inside of the game. You're a high reso player. You spend a lot of time and put a lot of effort into the game, and that's potentially why we're seeing your familiars as built out as they currently are. Correct?
yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Um,
My
and
familiars don't look like this, is what I'm trying to say. I don't have them looking as hot.
yeah. So with amalgamations, the one thing I wanted to let people know on the high end of things, if you're a spender
Hmm.
and you're trying to craft that perfect pet, if you're using conversion stones, you will keep the amalgamation. It can't transfer to a different species. So if you have an amalgamated brood talon, you could use any other species in the other two slots as long as you're using stones. As you can see right above the conversion stones, it only shows the brood talent or as the choice. Like that's all you're going to get. You're not going to get a chance to roll a quake or a mirgen if you use stones. As
Okay.
you can see, that disappears. So like without stones, you have a chance to hit any three. And when I click the stone button, it just changes to that. So
Okay.
at a baseline, that's what you're getting.
Can we back up a little bit here regarding stones?
Uh
Tell
huh.
people, I know that you mentioned kind of how you get them before, but kind of a little bit more in depth on how do you get conversion stones and really what are they for? I mean, I know the answer. I know that I know the answer at a low level, but give them a little bit more depth onto, why would you want to use conversion stones in the first place?
Yeah, so conversion stones, the only way you're going to get them is from ending pack on pets
Hmm.
or bundles. So, like when I go to end pack, a three yellow or orange skill is going to net me four conversion stones. So, I'll just go over real quick the different levels and what conversion stones you'll get. So, if you have a one yellow or orange skill, that's worth one stone. Uh, Two is worth two, three is worth four, four is worth eight, five is worth 16.
Okay,
And if they're all six yellow or orange, that's 32 stones. It's the most per pet
got you. And those stones can then be used for what?
for converting. Um, and for converting to maintain the baseline
Yeah.
of your best pet that you have.
That's the key right there.
So
You could convert without them, but then you're risking losing that baseline stuff that you were just sharing, specifically with the brood talent.
yeah, so like the attributes being like 195, as you can see in the preview. Like if I don't have it checked, it just says the word
Random.
random. If I check stones, then it'll say 195. Like those attributes, I'm guaranteed to have on the next pet. And same thing for the amalgamation. It changes from three different styles to just one.
Got it.
So
All right.
that,
I appreciate that because there's definitely people that were watching and they were like, okay, I don't really know what conversion stones are. So you just cleared that up. So perfect. Now everyone should have a good understanding of what we are sitting at now. And you could continue with your conversion stuff. Sorry for the, to derail us a little bit.
oh no, you're good. So the other thing on conversions, the reason why amalgamations for players that like to spend or roll those high end pets is because with amalgamations, since it's going to lock that subspecies and you're not going to have to risk changing it to a quake or whatever else. As you can see here, you could start buying pets for cheap on the auction house that have like the skills you want to roll on your main pet, and you know it's going to end up being a brood talon. So like if you're trying to get like let's just say like here it shows 40% on the right for these three skills. That's
Hmm.
because two of these three pets have that same skill. So it increases your odds of rolling it. If all three have it, then that's an 80% chance. So that's the highest you can get. So it goes from 40 to 80. So what people will do is like for Savior Pets, they'll make sure all three have Savior. And then if they want like Steel Hide or whatever other skills they want, they'll try to make sure those pets have that with it, two or three times. So that way they up their chances when they hit the convert button of putting it on that main amalgamation.
Got it. I mean, and to be clear here, you're talking about people that are going and buying Save Your Pets from the shop. Save Your
Hmm.
Pets are typically, they're not the cheapest, right? Because everyone wants to have
Oh
a
no.
Save Your Pet. So what you're talking about doing here, all of this converting and getting those pets, it's going to cost a lot of platinum. It's not like you're just
Uh,
getting a couple of things, and it's costing a lot of platinum for a chance to be able to get that conversion the way that you want it. And it could be a decent chance, but still, it's not guaranteed. So yeah, you're
right.
taking a look right now at, okay, Save Your Pet right there, 80,000 on that Brood Talon.
That's the cheapest. Yeah, these are the cheapest on at
Right.
least our server's current market. It'll vary server to server,
Yeah,
but yeah,
but
they're not
still.
cheap at all.
Right, exactly. You're talking about a significant investment. Like you're choosing to invest in your pet versus your normal gems or trying to pick up a couple of legendary gems you're looking for. So it's just another way of spending your platinum. So I just wanted to be clear on that as well. Um,
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah, and not to mention when you buy the pets you want,
Hmm.
which cost a lot of plat, but the stones itself, like for this, it's 40 stones, that's 40,000 plat that you're
Jeez.
gonna need
Yeah. Yeah. And it's
each
gonna
time you
yeah.
re-roll.
Yeah, so it's a spender's game right here. Whether that be platinum that you saved up and you're a free to play platinum spender, but you farm the heck out of it, or if you're spending some real cash. I have another question. I'm not sure if there's other
Mhm.
topics you want to hit on. I believe there are, but what happens? I heard rumor, and again, this was not by Blizzard or anything like that, but there was rumor of a new pet that may be coming to the game. Not confirmed. How does that impact you? Someone you're a high-end pet guy. If a new
Mhm.
familiar comes to the game, does that I mean, obviously it depends on the attributes and stuff, but does that kind of instantly make you have to go redo all of your pet stuff here? Obviously it's something you'd want to look into and test out and stuff. But what happens if they put out a new pet that's just like the new thing that everyone's going to want to have? How does that impact you?
Yeah, so for that new pet, I did see those leaks and rumors.
Yeah.
If it ends up being true, the only way it's gonna impact me or other like hardcore players is if it's a resilient pet because again if it's not resilient based as its main stat that means savior's not going to have a lower cooldown and that's the biggest thing if it's not resilient then at most it could be a good pve pet if it's something else which is
Hmm.
fine depending on what kind of active skill it has and then the traits whether maybe it'll be a good bonded pet maybe it'll have that player damage because there's only four pets that have player damage maybe it'll be that fifth one, and then maybe people would want to switch from having the hand, which gives you the player damage reduction, to the uh, the fiendish haste that gives you the damage to player. So maybe you might see some people swap to player damage. But yeah, it really just depends on if that new pet is going to be resilient based or not, and if it's not, then at most it's going to be either a good bonded pet, depending on the traits,
Hmm.
or a good PVE pet.
Okay. No, that makes sense. I Okay, cool. Another question is, and I know this is very hard for you to answer, but to get a, it may be impossible to answer. So please tell me if you can answer the question. To get a pet from like having no pets to having one savior pet that has all the right attributes in the right place, maybe even an amalgamation. Like how much platinum? And I know that it's some of it's role dependent, but how much platinum does it take to get something to that level? I guess for like if you wanted to sell your best pet, if it were even sellable on the market, what could you
Mhm.
get for like what would it cost me to buy that pet from you in the market?
Yeah, well, so to get one of those um like best pets rolling, it's going to cost a lot of plat because as I said earlier with amalgamations, to have the best chance to even roll one, which is 15%, you need 3 skills that are legendary,
Yeah.
which means it's going to cost you 30,000 plat to just do one reroll. because you need 30 stones to lock in that baseline of 3 orange skills, so it doesn't get worse.
Hmm.
So when you're hunting for these amalgamations, if you're going to be using something like a 3 or 4 Lego pet, just know that's 30 to 40,000 plat a roll. Even if you're using, junky pets or pets you got from your pet contracts that turned aberrant, um, you're still going to be spending 30, 40,000 plat a roll.
Yeah. And can you even sell your pets? Because I know with gems, when you put gems in that aren't sellable, it shows there is a market symbol over your brood town there. So you could sell that if you wanted to.
Yep, any aberrant you can sell, regardless. As long as it's aberrant, you could sell it. Even if you change servers, you can sell it.
Do
The
you
only
have?
ones that won't sell are the ordinaries.
Could you go over to your
Mhm.
the stone guy again? I forget his name. The third one down, third bonded.
Oh yeah, Ash Sweeper.
Yeah. Can you go to the market and like put it on the market? Not really put it on the market, but like see what it suggests that like if I wanted to go buy
Yeah,
that, like what it would suggest. Because I know you probably put a lot more platinum into that than you'd be available.
then
That
it's
would.
worth.
Yeah.
Yeah, let me unlock it real
But
quick.
I'm just curious as to like what it would be if I wanted to buy it from you.
Yeah, 1 second here. I have to.
Oh, I'm
Okay.
sorry. I just messed up your
It's nothing.
your con.
Yeah, I'm not worried about my expeditions. Wait, where did it? Oh, it's not. Did I take it out? Oh, I probably have to unlock it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, let's take a look. I'm just
Uh,
curious. Like I've seen some expensive pets, man.
so 32,000. Not.
Would you like to sell
That's
it to
the
me for
recommend.
32,000 platinum right now? I'll take
I don't
that
even
deal.
think that covered the stones I used to re-roll it.
How does it? So what? How high can it let you go?
I think it'll let me go to like 640 probably. I'm guessing
Which is still
somewhere.
not expensive. I've seen them in costing millions of platinum in the past.
Yeah, they have
So
a real awkward pricing system for these pets
I
based
agree.
on the number of colored skills. It's very confusing and convoluted.
It doesn't make sense. I
Not a
don't. I
fan of
don't
it.
see a way that it makes sense when I've sold pets in the past on how they're valued. I mean, I know that there's a reason, there's a way, but it doesn't make any. It's not doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah, that's why I said in the beginning it's basically a more expensive skill charm,
Yeah.
essentially.
So if
Because
you if you list this right now for the max price that you can, which I still don't know where it's going to stop, does someone buy this pet from you in your server?
this kind of pet, I could probably because I do have 800K is the max.
800K.
Yeah, so I believe it's a double attribute. Yeah, it is. So 2 orange. I have an orange ferocity and an orange resilience.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and it's got the hand and it's got savior. I, in my opinion, I could probably get around 400 ish K probably on our server, four to five
Really,
hundred somewhere in there.
really.
Yeah, and
Hmm.
that's mainly. I don't even think it has a little to do that it's a savior amalgamation, but it's more to do that it's 2 attributes. Like that's
That's where the
what
value
most
comes
people
in,
are
right?
gonna. Yeah.
Yeah, agreed. Okay, cool. My little side game is over there. I was just curious about that. Are there any other topics that we didn't yet touch on that people may be wondering about? How the pet system works, or we basically cover it from top to bottom?
Um, we pretty much covered it top to bottom. One last thing I want to say because I hear people talk about this all the time, and it's misunderstood. Is like they'll have like this pet that has like 3 orange and 3 blue, and they're like, if I convert it enough times, I'm probably gonna see a fourth. I
Uh,
just want to tell people it's very unlikely. It doesn't up your odds. As hard as it was to get that 3 orange, it's even harder to see that 4 orange, which is less than a percent. It gets real low. So it doesn't improve your odds if you have like a 4 or 5 legendary pet to try and get that extra orange skill. Um, you're gonna get it no quicker if you just use 3 cheap vanilla pets versus trying to use stones and convert that one. It's not gonna increase your odds any better.
Got it. I appreciate you giving a little insight for those that are extremely hopeful. Just,
Yeah, I just
just
don't want to see them spending and rolling, thinking, I see that too often.
you just stole everyone's hopes and dreams, man. Is what you just did.
I'm sorry.
No, I'm just joking.
Hopefully,
I'm
I
just
saved
joking.
them some play.
I hope so. Hey, dude, I really appreciate you coming through. Familiars, they're still complicated. People are still going to watch this video and say, you know what, I need to watch that again to truly understand it. But having someone like you come on that has a clear understanding, better understanding than I do of the whole pet system is going to be really valuable to the community. So I appreciate it. Thanks for coming through, man. Any last things you want to say? Shout out your clan or anything like that before you go?
Yeah, no, thanks for having me on. I'm part of the Area Summit Alliance on Treasure Goblin. You can find us on several different Discords, and we appreciate you having us on.
Appreciate you coming through, man. Thanks so much, and we'll see you again in another video, hopefully in the future. Take care, guys.